Good morning, Freedom Life. This is Pastor David coming this morning. I'm so excited for a brand new year, this January 1st. I love the concept of a brand new, fresh, clean slate. We haven't made our mistakes yet in 2024. 2024 is brand new, it's here. I'm excited. I wanted to share a couple of thoughts with y'all this morning as we enter the new year. If you've ever been to an amusement park and you get on the roller coaster, you know that they are making some crazy roller coasters these days. They go upside down, they twist, they do corkscrews. And by the time you're done, you're thinking, wow, this is so fun. In the middle of that ride, there's usually one loop or something where you're like, whoa, this one was a tough one. And last year was like a roller coaster ride for us, for so many of us and our families. It's fun overall, but there's one loop, there's one part, there's one drop that made our stomach feel a certain way. And then when it's time to get off the ride and make a decision, do I want to ride it again? We have a decision to make, and we think to ourselves, do I want to get on this roller coaster ride again? I remember as a boy, we were going up the roller coaster. You know how it tick, 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 tick. And when it gets almost to the top and you can see the drop, they stopped the ride, and somebody wanted to get off the ride. So they stopped it at the top so this one person could get off. They did not want to go through the ride. And some of us may feel like that. Just as this year's beginning to engage, we think to ourselves, do I still want to go on for God? Do I still want to stay close to God? Do I still want to stay in church? Do I still want to be faithful? Because this past year of serving God has been a difficult one. It's been tough. So I want to encourage you this morning to stay on the ride. Job was one of the great men of God in the Bible. And he had that thing that happened to him where Satan had a conversation with God. God allowed Satan to temporarily touch Job's life and his possessions, and even his body had boils all over his body. And really one of the toughest things anybody in the Bible has ever gone through. In the middle of that, Job says in chapter 13 and verse 15, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Job said, even though I'm going through a hard time, I still trust God. Even if it got to the point where God would slay me, I would still trust in him. This was Job's attitude. He said, I'm going to stay on the ride with God. And there's 4 quick reasons why it was the best thing for Job and why I think it's the best thing for us to stay with God. Number 1, it was an episode, not the ending. Job's problems lasted a short time. We don't know exactly how long they lasted, and it had a start to it and it had an ending. Just like an episode on TV, it begins and it ends. And this thing that happened to Job, it was just an episode. It was not the rest of Job's life. It was just a time in his life. And I want to encourage you. I know that some of y'all have had hard things that have happened to you in 2023 and in the past in your life. But those things, they come and then they go. This too shall pass. There's a lot of things in the Bible that God says this was just for the moment. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. And we believe God and we trust that that joy is around the corner. And so we stay on the ride. Number 2, it helped Job to know God. Job stayed on the ride. And at the end, here's what he said. Job 42, he said, I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Job had heard the legends of God. He had heard a lot of things about God, but he experienced God intimately and personally because of the struggles that he went through. And he said, now my eye seeth you. He saw God clearly because of the circumstance that he went through. Number 3, why did Job stay on the ride? Because it forged him into a greater person. His character already was great. This trial that Job went through made him even stronger in his character. What an amazing thing that this trial forged Job into. He said, when I'm through with this, when I'm tried, I will come forth as gold. This trial does what fire does to gold. It purifies it. It makes it more valuable. It makes it more pristine. That's what this trial did for Job. And that's what the trials of our lives do for us. When they're done, we come forth as gold. And number 4, what happened to Job? This trial increased his station in life. At the end, it says that God gave Job double what he had before. He had 10 kids. Those 10 kids passed away. He had 20 more kids. Now Job had 30 kids in all. 10 of them were already in heaven. And Job's livestock and Job's sheep and camels and his possessions, God gave him double everything because of what he allowed him to go through. And I want to encourage you with this. If you've gone through something tough, just stay with God. Stay on the ride, because God's going to use that to increase what you were before, to abound in the things that he's given you and allowed you to experience. You're going to be stronger, wiser, more powerful, and God is not going to allow you to go through the struggles that you went through and not remunerate you in his economy. And because God is not cruel, God is not unjust, God will reward us for the things we go through. The Bible says if we suffer with him, we will reign with him, and his grace will rest on you in the process. So I want to encourage you today, Freedom Life, stay on the ride, stay with God, stay close to God. Whatever your next step is with God, take that next step. Keep on walking with God. You need to know it's just an episode. It's not the ending. It was one loop on the roller coaster ride. He is going to show you himself. You're going to be closer to him. You are going to be a greater person, and God is going to increase your station. It's going to forge you into a greater version of yourself. So I encourage you this year, stay with God. Stay on the ride. Keep getting closer and closer to God. Go after him with all your heart, and you'll be able to say with Job, before I heard about you, but now my eye sees you. Happy New Year. We love all of you. We're praying for you. We're excited about the great things God has in store for us this year. Be encouraged today. God bless you all.